Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Okay, it was nice to see all of your work that you showed me via your pictures. I was really pleased to see that and felt very proud of you. So today we're going to move on to doing some naan breads with some koftas and a yogurt dip. Okay, before we go on to anything else, what I would like from you is to subscribe, so that's a lot more easier for me to share these videos with you rather than I always have to message you that when the videos are available. Okay, so let's get into it and let's get started. Okay guys, so I've got a few ingredients already set here for to make the koftas, and what I have done is get everything ready as we usually do. Okay, so I'm just going to come out of shot at the moment, so you don't necessarily need to see what I look like. You know me. So I have my onions chopped here already, and I have some garlic. I have some sage finely chopped, as well as some coriander, some fresh coriander. Okay, now my garlic here is finely chopped, and what I'm going to do is take a sprinkling of salt and just sprinkle on top of the garlic just to make it into a puree. And I'm going to use my chef knife and just literally just keep pressing down on it until it begins to come into a puree. You may have to bring it back together every time, because obviously you are spreading it and you are squashing it. So all I'm doing here is literally taking all the juice out of the garlic. Now you can use it is in its chopped state, that is perfectly fine, but because I want the garlic to go all around the mince quite easily, I want to make it into a slight soft puree. Okay, so all I'm doing here again is using my chef knife and bringing it together, and keep doing it over and over, and the grain of salt will make it into a puree. Now for the koftas, you can use any particular mince that you so desire. It doesn't have to be lamb. You can use chicken, pork, mince, turkey, beef. Is entirely down to you and what you decide to use. Okay, now I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to add that to my bowl, as well as my onions. All goes in. Now I've used one whole onion here, finely chopped. I'm going to put in my sage, as well as the coriander. Now basically what I'm creating here is a marinade. Okay, and I'm going to add some salt, a teaspoon of salt. That's fine. And I'm going to use my hands. All well and good using a spoon, but the hands are so much more easy. And you really want to get in there and squash it in together. Okay, what we want is that all those flavors to go into that mince, and once it starts cooking, when you bite into it, you can taste all of the ingredient. Now you can marinate this for an hour, so I'm going to put it into the fridge once I'm happy with it, and then take it back out again. Now the consistency we're looking for here is to make sure that it's really squashy, really soft. Yeah, and when I say squashy, I mean my fingers can actually go through it, and I can see that all of the extra ingredients that I've added into it is actually being mixed in to the mince itself. Bring it together, really fold it over, make sure it's really getting in there. Now, if your onions are a little bit wet, i.e. it's a bit juicy, you're more than welcome to actually squeeze it out first. Okay, what we don't want is to have any sort of extra liquid inside of the mince. Now I'm going to stop for a minute, get some cumin and add it into there. Okay guys, so now we're going to make the naan bread, okay? And I've used strong flour. Normally you would use strong flour with yeast. However, for this particular recipe, I've used baking powder, but everything else is the same, so you still add the yogurt. Now the reason I've added the baking powder instead of the yeast is just to shorten that process of actually proving the dough, okay? Now there is still a raisin agent in there, and ideally it should still work the same. Remember, you know, recipes is all about adaptations and making it more useful for you for your particular exam. So flour is in the bowl, and I'm going to add my sprinkling of salt. I'm just going to make a well for everything. So salt goes in. Just make sure you do it in your hand first or in a teaspoon before adding it to the bowl so that there's no accidents and everything falling into it. Okay, I'm going to put my baking powder in. And I'm just going to stir this in to make sure all of it is well incorporated and nothing is not being used, or sometimes things can stick up. You don't really want that to happen. Just give it a quick stir and make sure it's all incorporated. Now I'm going to add my liquids together. So again, opening my yogurt, and I'm going to make a well in the middle of it. Add my yogurt. I didn't measure those tablespoons correctly, so I just added an extra one just to make sure. And I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Okay, I'm going to give that a good mix. Now the consistency we're looking here for is a very soft consistency. We don't want it too tight. And what I mean by being tight is that the dough being dry. Okay, so that's not what we're aiming for. So I'm going to add my liquid now, and it's always best to add it a bit of a time, just to avoid any accidents or making the dough a little bit too wet. Now I have started with 100 milliliters of just normal tap warm water. Okay, nothing more than that. Just start with 100. Okay, and what we're looking for is to make sure that the dough goes around the bowl quite easily. Yeah, and there's nothing sticking up. It's clean the bowl, and you're basically acting as though it's a machine. Yeah, and just literally cleaning that. Now it's come away from the sides of the bowl quite easily. I'm just going to put that spoon aside and put it onto the board. And I'm just going to use a bit some flour just to really get this dough going. And I'm just going to knead it, because again, what we're looking for is a nice smooth consistency. And notice I'm just sprinkling, I'm not adding lots and lots of flour. So my dough is nice and soft. You can see it's squidgy, yeah. And you just keep kneading that until it's nice and smooth. A bit too heavy-handed as usual. Now you don't necessarily have to add a lot of pressure onto the dough. I'm just literally rolling it around so that the dough becomes nice and smooth and pliable and easy to work with. Okay, so I'm going to check that. Now once I've done this, I'll give it some chance to rest. Relax so that the dough can spring back to its own shape. A little bit more flour on it. And all I'm doing is chopping it underneath so that the ball of it gets nice and smooth if you're not happy with the kneading technique. Right, just a bit of a tip to stop this happening, your board actually moving, just put a wet tea towel underneath it and that will literally solve the problem. So I'm just cutting it and just doing that and turning the dough so that it gets nice and smooth, and basically that's what we're looking for. Well, while that rests, I'm just going to clean this down. Okay, so we're going to do the garlic for the naan bread, and I'm going to use 2 cloves. I mean, I particularly like garlic quite a lot. So we're going to squash it, use the back of the knife or the flat of your chef knife, and literally just slice. I'm going to take that nub off there and I'm going to cut it down. Now we don't want big chunky pieces, we just want real slivers of it so that it's easier to roll into the dough. So, and just keep that nice and thin as much as you want. Yeah, keep it nice and thin so that again we can roll it into the dough. I think that's good enough. I'll do another one just in case I need a bit more. Okay, just nice and thin. And we're also going to use a bit of coriander. Now I'm just going to use the leaves of this. I don't necessarily need the stalks. So I'm just taking the leaves off. And what we're going to do is to roll it into the dough before we cook it. And these are going to cook relatively very quickly. no sort of major efforts into them. Okay, now remember, all of these recipes are, what I'm thinking about is what you can cook quite quickly for your exams, and so therefore put you under less pressure. And practice makes perfect. Practice as much as you want on these recipes, and it will be, I think it will be a good idea, so that, you know, if you do these for your exams, at least you know what you're doing, because you have been practicing this for a long time, and the videos are there, so you can always go over it over and over again. Now my dough is very light and aerated, and you can see that, look at that, lovely. It springs back up as soon as I press into it. I'm going to cut it into 4. In fact, I think I'm going to go a little bit smaller and cut it into 6. So notice I roll it into a log shape, so that it's easier to divide it down. So I'm going to go there and there. Okay, always try your best to get sort of even pieces. Now we're aiming for a starter here, and so therefore we don't want really big breads of naan. Okay, so I have 6 there. If it's a little bit big, just, you know, take some off from one of them. Lovely. I think that looks a bit even. I'm happy with that. I'm going to get rid of some of these bits here. Right, I'm going to go back to my flour, and I'm going to just do a couple of these in front of you, so you can actually see what I want done. Now what I would like you to do is to press the dough out. You can use a rolling pin if you so wish to, but I don't want it too big. Remember, it is a starter, and a naan bread is quite thick once you sort of tear into it. So I'm happy with that, and I'm just going to add pieces of garlic, and I'm literally going to roll into it. Now if you had some nigella seeds, you're more than welcome to add it to as well. So I've put the coriander down as well as the garlic pieces, and I'm just literally just sort of pushing it into the dough with the rolling pin, and that's it done. So I'm just going to continue doing this, and then I will come back and show you how to do the koftas. Okay guys, so we're going to move on to the koftas now and cook them off. So I'm going to roll them. I'm going to be a little bit heavy-handed when I'm rolling them as well, so that they actually retain its shape, because obviously there is no breadcrumbs to help bind it together. Okay, so I'm going to get started now, and then you'll see what I am doing. So as I said, I'm just rolling it into my hands, being a little bit heavy-handed into a ball, and I'm going to put it onto the counter, and I'm being gentle now. I'm not being heavy-handed, and trying to keep its shape into a log. Now if it falls apart, again, just reshape it and start again. Try and get them all the same size. I'll do this again. You can opt for weighing them, all the balls individually, so that they're all weighed the same size. Okay, we're not going to be that fussy today. So again, as I said, I'm just really being a little bit heavy-handed. Now, in my little griddle pan here, I've had it heating up, and so I'm just going to take them and start cooking them off. It's oil, and we're looking to hear that charred sound. You know that the pan is nice and ready for it to be cooked. I have put my oven on, just so that I can put them back into the tray and put them back into the oven, just to ensure that the middle of them are actually cooked through. Right, so I'm going to go back to these bits here and roll it nice and gently. Now they're probably going to take at least 20 minutes to cook through, and I'm literally, what I'm doing here is just giving them a nice sear, a nice charred flavour using the griddle pan. Remember, this technique, very gentle. I'm not pressing down. I'm just giving a light roll so that it supports it, so that it can roll quite easily. So I reckon I get 7 out of mine. Should be fine. Now if it's falling apart like that, all you need to do is just squeeze it in, yeah? Remember, you're the boss of it. Don't let it control you. Don't get frustrated. Even if you wanted to do flat ones, you're more than welcome to do it as well. Yeah, there's no rule that says you cannot change the shape. Alright? Remember, variation is the key. Make the recipe your own. Now, I just do 2 round shapes. And cut. Okay, so I have my pan all nice and ready heated. I have already prepared some here so that you can see what they look like. I'm going to put it face side down to the pan so that it's nice and hot. And I'll let that cook. You want to hear that nice sizzle. Once it's ready, I would say you will actually see it starting to rise and double in size slightly. Okay, and that's all the air actually being because of the heat and the baking powder activating. Okay, once that's done and you flip it over, I would say give it about 2 minutes on each side, and then you just use your brush and butter it. Inside here, I've started to make the dip for the bread, and in the middle here I have some chopped coriander, I have some pureed garlic, the same technique that I used before, and I have some paprika. I'm just going to mix it in all together. You definitely need salt and pepper for this. I haven't added any as yet, but I will taste it. Now, if you wanted to blitz this together, just be mindful that it will go slightly green in colour. Alright? So I'm just going to add a bit of salt. Again, always try and just do it into your hands first, just so that we have no issues with over salting. And I can see this beginning to change colour here on the edges. So I'm just going to flip it over and look at that. Absolutely beautiful. If you can see, yeah, the sides there is beginning to rise. Just flip it over again. And go back to this one. There's a lot of multitasking just to finish up the actual dish. I'm just going to taste this. And it needs a little bit more salt. Now, if you wanted to add a little bit of heat, you're more than welcome to do so. But because I'm sharing this with my husband, he's not too much into heat, so I'm going to leave it out. Now, as you can see, this cooks really quickly. Look at the other side, just flip it over, okay? And you can see it's all nicely, it's nice and light and it's aerated. I'm going to take these out now, switch it off. And as I said before, I'm just going to finish it off with the melted butter. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of pepper into that, if I can find it. Visual, no. There we go. Now I'm going to build this now so you actually see what a presentation looks like. Okay. Now, so I have some chiffonade of lettuce. I'm going to start with this one so it's nice and flat. My koftas are all finished now. Let me bring this over. It's really nice and hot. And as I said, it's a starter, so you don't really want to have really, really big pieces. You put that nice in the middle of your plate. I'm just going to put a little bit of this down there. Let's try and go for one that's... And I'm just going to slice it open so you can see that it's actually cooked inside. And put it down. I'm going to give it one more. And I'm just going to just drizzle some of this over it. And And I'm going to finish off with a bit of sriracha, just to add a little bit more colour to it. I'm going to clean that up because I'm fussy about the presentation. And of course, there we go. And garnish it with slightly sort of sprigs of coriander. And there you go. That is your finished dish. So I look forward to seeing yours completed, and hopefully everything goes well with yours. So good luck, guys. Well done for all of the lessons you've done so far, and see you later.